All right, this video is going to be about how to get your equipment ready to turn back in. We have a lot of equipment coming back to us, so the easier it is for us to get these bags repacked and everything, the better. So if you can watch this video and pack your bag the way that I ask you to, that would be fantastic. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to take your camera mount off of your camera. So you need to pull up that little pull tab and untwist it. This needs to go back on your tripod, because if we don't get your camera and your tripod scanned in at the same time, then we don't know which tripod this goes to. So please put this part back on your tripod. The next thing that you need to do is make sure that all of your cords are unplugged from your camera. The next thing is to take your battery off the camera. Make sure that your SD card is out of your camera. You need to keep this. You need a copy of your video, so you keep this. The next thing is to then make sure that your camera lens is shut. So you just flip that little switch on the handle where I showed you earlier. You flip that, make sure it's closed. Then we want you to put your camera with the lens face down in the smaller box in the back. Okay? And then your battery can go in that box with your camera. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to show you is your charger. So what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you're not bending the cord too hard from the top of the charger. So that way we don't have any frayed wires underneath here. Okay, so just make sure you're not pulling it really hard, and then you can just wrap it up. And I go ahead and stick the end of the charger back through so that way it stays better wrapped up, but that's just me. And then you put it in the bigger section closest to the camera. The next thing that I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you your transmitter. So the big thing with your transmitter and your mic is make sure that everything that can be disconnected from them is disconnected. Then make sure that you take out these batteries. We get back hundreds of cameras and mic packs, and we do not need all of these batteries. Okay, these batteries, you've paid for them, you keep them. We don't need them, you paid for them. So you keep them. Take them out and put them in right next to the charger. Okay, next thing is the mic pack. Do the same thing. Make sure your microphone is disconnected. Take your battery out. You keep that. Close it back up and put it on the very far side. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is your USB cord. So this USB cord can go in the top mesh zipper pocket up here at the top of your bag. And just make sure it's coiled up nice and neatly. And then you've got your headphone, the one singular headphone that is given with your camera. Okay, so take this headphone and just wrap it around your hand. Make sure it's all nice and neat. And it can also go in this mesh pocket up at the top of your camera bag. And then zip that up. You're done with that mesh bag, so that way all of that stays in there. The next thing that I want you to do is take your microphone cord and your transmitter cord if it's detached. If your transmitter cord is not detached, it's one of the ones that's attached to the transmitter at all times, just wrap it around the transmitter so that way it stays secure and it doesn't end up all over the place in the bag. Then we've provided Ziploc baggies for your transmitter cord and your microphone cord. So go ahead and squeeze all the air out of that. Get it nice and neat. And it can go just in the side of the bag with the microphone pack and the charger. Okay? The last thing that we have, you may not have even taken these out, but these are your manuals, and those will go in the back of your camera bag. There is a little pocket right here. And it goes in the back of your camera bag, and you just slide them on in. You may not have even taken these out, so you may not even know that they're back there, but just in case, put them back in. And then you need to buckle your bag and make sure that your strap is the smallest that it can be. So the end of your strap should be all the way over here on the opposite side, so that way it's nice and short so we don't have a whole bunch of long cords or long straps getting all wrapped up together. And then you can just flip it on through so that way you can hand it to us real easy and it doesn't end up getting caught in anything else. The next thing that I'm going to show you how to pack is our swivel. So with the swivel, what you need to do is you need to take off the grip, okay, and make sure that your attachment to the grip holder comes out, okay, and we can pack that separately, and then go ahead and put the grip holder back on the base. Make sure that your marker goes in your base just like it would if it was getting ready to be charged, and then your base can go in the circle part of your bag, and it doesn't really matter which way it's turned around, just put it in the bag. And then your charger will go in this slot right here, and make sure that your charging cable is detached from the charger if that is possible. And then some of our swivels still have these. We've taken them out of most of them, but they are the adapter for the plug for the charger, and they just go over here if you do have one. And it just sits in there. The next thing is that Swivel provided us with these cool bags to hold all of the things that the swivel that goes with the swivel. So if your charging cable comes detached, go ahead and wrap that up around your hand and put it in the back of this little black bag. So it has two different sections, two different zipper pockets, and it goes in the back one. And then go ahead and put your audio cables, you have one or two, go ahead and put those in the back with the charging cable. And you can zip that up. And then in this smaller zipper pocket in the front, you can put your attachments to your grip holder on the swivel base, and your marker lanyard in this one. And you are ready to zip this one up. And then this bag goes back in the top of this behind the barcode in that mesh pocket. And if you have any papers in here, the Swivel resource papers, the Getting Started guide that we've talked about several times, if you have those, they can just go behind this black bag, and then it's ready to be zipped up and handed in. And then the last thing that we have is our tripods. And also, if you put your swivel on a tripod, please make sure that you take this camera mount off of the swivel as well, because like I said with the cameras, if you turn your swivel and your tripod in, we may not scan them in at the same time. And so then we have a whole bunch of missing camera mounts because they're on the bottom of cameras and swivels, and then we don't know which tripod it goes to. So we may have to contact a lot of you trying to figure out if you brought in your camera mount or not, because we don't know which one it goes to. So go ahead and put that camera mount back on the top of the camera. Okay, make sure that your the legs of your tripod are completely as short as they will go, so they're all the way in. And then make sure that your handle that moves your tripod, make sure that that's all the way down and nested in between the legs. And then make sure that the crank handle for the neck is in the same way on the other side. This just helps the tripod go easier into the bag. And then make sure that your neck on your tripod, so this little gear right here that turns, make sure that that's all the way tightened, because a lot of times we pull our tripods out of the bag like this. And so if we pull it by this right here and the neck extends, then we can break the neck. So please be careful with that. And then make sure that this part right here is also tightened by this screw. Okay, so make sure this part is tightened so that way it can't go anywhere, and just make sure that everything is tightened down just a little bit, just so where it's not really loose. And then you're ready to put this back in the bag. Make sure that you put the feet first in the bag. And make sure to be careful that when you're putting this in, that you make sure that all of the handles are in the bag as you're pulling it, or as you're pushing it into the bag. So that way the bag doesn't rip and our tripods don't get broken. And then once your tripod is all the way in, you zip it up and it's ready to be turned in. And that is all you need to do to get your equipment ready to be turned back in to the Office of Teacher Education. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you had a great experience with your TPA equipment.